Buenas tardes a todos. Good evening. Good afternoon, sorry. I'm going to break protocol, and I asked my co-founder to present with me, so it's going to be the two of us presenting. And we'll be talking, we're the new kids on the block in Puerto Rico, so in 5 minutes I'm going to hope to be able to, that we're going to be able to cover the concept. We definitely have more going on, so we'd be happy to talk after. How do I move this here? So I'm Dr. Antares Ramos. I'm a marine ecologist. I have focused in coastal zone management and coral reef conservation.
My name is Enrique Figueroa. I don't have any titles other than Reef Ambassador. All right. So we decided to try to explain to you what Puerto Rico is like, but it seems like all of you guys know what the Caribbean looks like. What I'm sure most of you don't know is that over 80% of our 3.2 million people that live in Puerto Rico does not know how to swim. And that creates a difficult reality for all of us who experience ocean in an everyday. Our ecosystems are impacted by runoff, by all these storms, which we can relate. And I want to say that our thoughts and prayers are with all of you guys in Florida. We had the same situation about a week and a half ago, so we know how it feels. But basically, if people don't know what we have, how can they protect it?
As many of you know, one of the largest threats are our land-based sources of pollution. That's not only in Puerto Rico, but it's definitely one of the main ones in Puerto Rico. That come from, our mountains, our rural communities. Many of these communities, believe it or not, have never seen the ocean, or those are the ones that don't know how to swim. Since we are in the Keys, I will quote Jimmy Buffett. How can you describe the ocean if you've never seen it? So that's kind of, our philosophy of what we're currently doing. A big part of what we're doing is educating those folks that are not coastal to realize that their day-to-day lives really impact our coast, small islands, island life. We need to understand that more and more as the climate continues to change.
So the reason why people don't know how to swim is cultural. It's very complex, but we need to change that. And the only way we can do this is through our youth. We started this program called Sail with a Purpose, where we bring underprivileged kids to the beach and teach them a little bit about the corals and a lot about the water and the ecosystem. They all come in asking about the sharks and basically leave jumping off the boats halfway through the tour because they're pretty happy with what we're doing. But we would like to incorporate all the sailing and water sports that we have in the island. Of course, we got plenty. And this aligns perfectly with the Olympic values: excellence, friendship, and respect. Respect being our strong point with the ocean. We need to respect the ocean, which most people don't. And sailing, it's available for everybody.
Okay, we just got the 2-minute mark, so we're gonna race through. So we're focusing on underserved communities, especially the sport of sailing is one that has this fame of being like it's only for people with money, not necessarily. I mean, you saw the boats we're using. So that's part of our philosophy and what we're doing, aiming to do around the island is if you're on an island, you should at least know, water sports. So sailing, for obvious reasons, is why we're doing it. You don't need to know how to swim, but hopefully it will, inspire you to learn. And as, Kike said, we started our program Sail with a Purpose. To the moment, we've already served 140 kids. We've already given them the experience. It's magical. So we're educating, about the ocean and coral reefs through sports. The second phase we're working on right now is to have a land nursery. Obviously, I don't have to go into the restoration and why it's needed. That part, so I'll skip. But the idea of having this is going to be community-based, so we definitely want to be, bringing up the locals, giving the opportunity to kids that probably wouldn't have, that contact. And also to be able to have the outreach and education. That way you don't have to get in the water to actually see a coral and better understand what we are trying to say, what we're trying to save, and so they can, have that love towards that coral without having to go in the water, which we recognize. It's not for everyone to be diving or snorkeling, but at least know what's out there. Obviously, with the nursery, we'll also be able to help with the advancement of science, and, the coral conservation, as I said, restoration.
Right, so our goal is to build 5 land-based nurseries along with a sailing school in 5 municipalities around the island. That way we can get the message across throughout the whole 100 by 35.
And here you see there's a nursery in the University of Puerto Rico down south. Fiona definitely had something to say about it, so we'll hopefully be able to help them rebuild. Here we have, so island-wide collaboration. This is a topic that, has already been covered in this session. The idea, and, also how Sammy was saying, the idea is to help each other. It's to fill in the gaps. It's how can we, continue allocating, helping each other, alineando what we're doing. So we have a larger capacity island-wide. We're a small place, so competing makes no sense. As funding is always an issue, so let's help each other. And those, 5,000 here, 5,000 there, so only eventually you have 100. So that's definitely how we work.
All right. I guess through the sport of sailing and my involvement in it for the past 45 years, I would attract different water-based sports athletes to become ocean ambassadors, which will appeal to the masses, and hopefully we'll get more traction with this program.
And I think this is the last, yeah, okay, this is the last one. So, corals matter. When you're working with different stakeholders and when you have different approaches, you're gonna get either the coral fanatics involved in the sport in the ocean, a different, side of the ocean and that ecosystem, and vice versa. And what we found is that it definitely increases the attention of different stakeholders that want to help with funding, with policy, and that sort of thing, that for scientists, it's challenging to sometimes get, them on board and get them interested in what we're doing and conserving. So let's go sailing. Thank you. If you have any questions.
I want to add a small thanks to our counterparts in Puerto Rico for carrying the torch for so many years by themselves. I know it's been an uphill battle against wind and tide, so thank you.